So we talked about money. I'd like to talk about mindset. There's this thing that you talk about, abundance mindset filters. You realize, then you decide, and then you educate, and then you act. It's 4 pillars. And you talk a little bit about people getting derailed between the second one, which is decide, and then the 4th filter, which is act. Was there ever a point in your real estate adventure, if you will, did you realize, and when did you decide? Was it after you accumulated the first or second property, or was it after you sold? When did you realize and decide? Curious.
Right after owning that first fourplex building for about 3 years, I really didn't do much. I only had to live in that building 12 months to qualify for the financing. I lived in that fourplex for the first 3 years. I was into other things, travel and athletic competitions and things like that. It wasn't until I did more reading, and I think one thing that I learned that a lot of people still haven't learned is that financially free beats debt free. That's what helped take me from decision to acting. Doing a cash out refinance of that first fourplex building and using some of that of accumulated equity to go ahead and buy a second fourplex building with essentially none of my own money because it was accumulated equity from the first building. Now that right there would give some people pause because they're saying, wait, you're removing equity from the first property and putting it into the second property? Then aren't you taking on more debt? Aren't you getting highly leveraged or over leveraged? As long as income exceeds expenses, I'm not over leveraged. The debt is good when it's outsourced to tenants. You know, you think about it, when you buy a cash flowing property, or maybe you're a real estate syndicator and you're trying to explain to investors what you do, when debt is good, it's outsourced to tenants. So that increased the total value of properties that I could own, and it increased my cash flow. So even though I'm taking on more debt, that debt is outsourced. But paradoxically, I'm actually getting closer to financial freedom because it increases my cash flow at the same time. So taking on more debt like that is responsible all day when it's done right. And there's some other important things there. You need to be buying in the right market and things like that. That's when I realized financially free beats debt free. So that crystallizing that helped me grow and decide to grow.